Hey guys, look, this is so crazy. I can't even believe that I'm having to make this daggum video right now. We're at a campsite, a public park, and there's signs posted all over the place. All over the place that says to keep your dogs on a daggum leash, and here we are. I've got my dogs tethered off. Bonnie, she's she's barking, she barks at other people, whatever, walking by, tell her to hush, whatever. You've heard it on the videos. Well, some idiot walks in the park and he's got his dog off a leash, and his dog runs up on Bonnie. They get in a whole scuffle. You don't want to ever get in the middle of a dog fight, but it burns me up. And Bonnie's fine, the other dog's fine, but it's like he's all cussing and yelling and getting all pissed off, and it's like, now I don't know if this guy's going to complain, call the law, and say I got a vicious dog and all this other nonsense. I don't know if I'm going to get kicked out of the park. I mean, it's just it's like, why come to a public park and have your dog off a leash? And I mean, this dog just, as soon as my dog stood up, just bolted right on her. And it's like, we're out here and we're trying to have a peaceful evening, and this is just something that I've got to deal with. And it's like, what idiot comes out here? And I'm pretty sure he was on the bottle a little bit, and he can go up and say whatever he wants, and then I've got to deal with it. I'm hoping the police don't show up, because it's like, what am I gonna do? This guy, he's got a home to go back to and take his dogs to, and I don't have anywhere to go. So it's like, what do I do? And it burns me up so bad. And he's all saying, well, I come to this park every day, da 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 da. This is the first time I've seen this guy here, and we've been here for days. And it's a shame that you've got to deal with this in this type of situation. I'm just gonna have to deal with it. And hopefully they don't kick us out. Once again, my dogs were on leashes. They're tethered up and tied up. Every once in a while we'll let Chico off, but he kind of pretty much stays around, and usually if he gets taken off, it's to untangle the tether. I mean, this is just, it burns me up, because Bonnie, she's a really good dog, but she's super protective. She's very protective, and she doesn't bark at everybody, but when there's somebody that kind of walks around that is, she feels is a bad person, dogs know people. People can sense things in people, and she didn't like this guy, and she started barking at him, and that dog, I'm talking about, bolted right at her. And it's just, dealing with this, just a chaotic situation. And it bothers me, because at the end of the day, it's, this is our home for the time being, and we've already paid for multiple days here at the campsite. And I don't know, if they want to have a hassle and say, look, your dog's vicious or whatever, and attacked another dog, and that wasn't the case. So I'm just sitting here and waiting for the police to pull up, and the park ranger to come up and say, oh, y'all have got to get out of here. It bothers me. It bothers me, because it's like, don't you see the signs? Don't you see that, hey, you're supposed to have your dog on a daggum leash? And, I've trained my dog, okay? And if I want her to be vicious, she can be vicious. She's a commandable dog, and people don't understand that. And, I'm burnt up about this. I mean, this is not fair. This is not okay. And this guy, he's sitting there saying, oh, this, that, and the other, and oh, your dog this, your dog that. But it's like, hey, bud, your dog was not on a leash. Your dog come up on my dog in our campsite, and this guy's not even staying here. He's just walking around the park with his dog off a leash. And don't let me get started. He started mouthing off to my fiance, and nobody talks to my fiance that way but me. I'm just kidding. But this is not, I don't think this is going to be the end of it. I think they're going to end up coming down and saying something to me. I think the police are going to end up coming over. I don't think Bonnie doesn't have any marks, but I think she got that dog on the ear a bit. And I don't have the ability to pay for no vet bill to get a dog to get stitches. This is crazy. It's unbelievable. This is not okay. And really, like I said, you're supposed to have your daggum dog on a leash. And he's saying, oh, well, my dog is good. My dog doesn't do that. It's not vicious. Your dog ran up on my dog, okay? Your dog ran up on my dog. And I will go to bat for my dog. You know, my dog has saved us multiple times from people walking into our camp zone or wherever we're at. And, you know, this guy, he's got me livid. You know, I'm worked up about it. And, you know, I'm not mad or pissed off or angry. I'm worried and trying to, you know, say, look, you know, this is, you know, your dog come up on mine, but he still wants to say, oh, your dog's vicious, your dog's vicious. And I'm thinking, your dog ran at my dog. My dog was on the end of her lead, you know, and I've got a headache from it, because it's like, you know, ultimate thing. And I know I'm repeating this and repeating, but there's a leash law. His dog was not on a leash, and he's going to say, oh, well, my dog was on a leash, and his dog come over to mine, whatever he's going to say. And you know, I can't have things like this happening. You know, we're in a good spot. We've had a lot of blessings come our way, and I'm not gonna let this affect me. I'm gonna let it play out. I haven't gone up and said anything, but you know, I'm waiting for the police to pull up and say, hey, what about your vicious dog? And you know, of course, you know, he wants to take me to court or whatever. I can't afford a vet bill at all. You know, I mean, it's just you know, Bonnie's okay. The other dog was okay. I don't know if it was, you know, I think she nicked it on the ear a little bit. There wasn't, you know, a bunch of blood or nothing, but you could see that the dog had a little bit of nick on its ear. And I'm just thinking, you know, this is the worst case scenario here, because, you know, they want to say whatever he wants to go and say whatever he wants to say. This will be bad for us. You know, they could ultimately inevitably say, look, you guys got to go, and they don't even have to refund the money that we've already paid to stay here. And on top of, you know, as we've been going through the days here, we've been able to kind of accumulate more things, and, you know, that worries me too. If we have to pack up and put everything in the cart, you know, I've got a whole big tent here that would take up the whole space in the whole cart. So I don't know. I'm to the point to where, once again, here we go. We've had a fault. We've had an ailment here, and what am I going to do? You know, what am I going to do when they come up and the park ranger and the police say, hey, you got to go? I don't know. You know, and really at the end of the day, I feel like personally that my dog was doing what she's supposed to do. So I don't know, guys. It's a struggle, and once again we've got something that we've got to deal with at no fault of my own. But I don't know, everybody. It's part of that struggle. Good news, guys. Other than that, this morning I was sitting down, I was reading my Proverbs for the day, and some other campers were leaving out, and they brought us quite a bit of firewood here. Not only did they bring us quite a bit of firewood, but they brought us a little bit of cash. He said, go get you some supplies and stuff that you need. And they brought us a decent sized bag of ice for the cooler so we can keep our cold drinks in it. And tonight, guys, I'm going to cook again. I'm going to put out another video. Hopefully I can do it before the sun goes down, because we don't have the tent to put up. And I hope to show you guys that. Love y'all. Bye.